Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Suyash and I am the internet's new law teacher. Today, I'll tell you what a treaty is. Now you might be thinking, treaties, I already know what they are. But hold on a moment. I am here to take your understanding to a whole new level. In this show, I'll be going beyond the basics and will help you unlock the secrets of the world of treaties and tell you the power they hold in shaping our world. So friends, get ready for this enlightening journey. Subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell and be a part of our community of curious minds. By the way, have you ever wondered how two countries on the brink of war suddenly find a path to peace? How is such a monumental shift possible? The answer lies in the fascinating world of treaties. Think of treaties as the building blocks of international relations. They serve as the glue that brings nations together, enabling cooperation, resolving disputes, and addressing a wide range of issues that transcend borders, from matters of trade, commerce, human rights, environmental protection, and even disarmament. Treaties provide a framework for collaboration and collective action. So what exactly is a treaty? At its core, a treaty is a formal agreement between two or more parties, mostly countries, that establishes rights and obligations and expectations among them. These agreements are binding and carry legal weight, playing a crucial role in international relations and shaping the world we live in. And names are mere formalities, whether called an agreement, pact, convention, protocol, or charter. The essence of treaties remains the same. So never judge a treaty by its title, and it is the substance of a treaty that matters. Did you know when two nations engage, it's a bilateral treaty, but when the party gets bigger, it's called a multilateral treaty. Now, before moving further, you should know that there is an entire treaty that deals with the laws of treaties. Amazing, isn't it? It is called the Vienna Convention of Law of Treaties. Adopted in the year 1969, the VCLT has a rich historical significance and has emerged as a result of lengthy international legal discussions that took place for many years. It is divided into 8 parts and contains 85 articles. It is undoubtedly one of the most important treaties in the realm of international law because it codifies the various principles relating to treaties. It helps in interpretation of new and existing treaties. It facilitates peaceful resolution of disputes between countries. It also promotes international cooperation by providing for principles of implementation of treaties. And while doing all this, it also protects the sovereignty of states. It makes sure that states have control over their treaty commitments. Thus, everything that is to know about treaties is contained in VCLT. Though the study of VCLT is a vast subject in itself, yet to dive a little bit deeper, I will tell you 5 key provisions of VCLT. First, Article 2(1)(a) that defines treaties as an international agreement concluded between states in written form and governed by international law. Second, Article 26 that states that all the treaties must be observed and performed in good faith. This is called the principle of pacta sunt servanda. To know more about pacta sunt servanda, please watch my earlier episode on it. Third, Article 53 that talks about the principle of jus cogens, which simply means a crucial rule that no country can ignore or break. It has been defined as a mandatory and non-derogable rule of international law that is accepted and recognized by the international community. To know more about jus cogens, please watch my earlier episode on it. The fourth legal provision that you should know is Article 62 that talks about fundamental change in circumstances. Basically, if something occurs after signing a treaty that was not foreseen by the parties and that changes the nature of responsibilities to be performed by the treaty members, then it is a fundamental change in circumstances and the parties can take it as a ground for withdrawing from or terminating the treaty. The last relevant provision of VCLT for you is Article 11, which talks about free consent. You should know that free will and free consent are considered very important in VCLT, and countries cannot become party to a treaty without their express consent. That is to say, a treaty cannot be forced upon a state. So, those were the 5 key provisions of VCLT, and there is one more important provision that you should know. Article 38, 1A of the Statute of International Court of Justice. This provision has uplifted the status of treaties, and because of it, it is now considered as one of the sources of international law. So, if you want to create a new rule in international law, draft a treaty, get it signed by the countries, and bingo, you have just created new international law. Now, you must be thinking that, okay, once a country has entered into a treaty, that's it. That country has to live with that treaty for the rest of its life. Is such an understanding correct? No. When a country enters into a treaty, it should not be a suffocating relationship. And generally speaking, there are 4 options available depending on the situation: reservations, amendment, invalidation, and termination of treaties. Let's understand the meaning of these terms with examples. Imagine the Cricket World Cup is happening with teams from different countries all over the world. All countries agree to follow the rules of the tournament, one of which says that all players must wear red jerseys. There is one country, country A, that does not agree to it. It makes a special request that since the national color of their country is green, their players should be allowed to wear green jerseys. And this is what is meant by reservation. It is a special request or a unilateral statement at the time of signing of a treaty, whereby a member state may modify a treaty provision as a special case. Now let's imagine again. 2 countries, A and B, enter into a treaty to protect elephants and tigers in their territory. The treaty works out just fine. However, later on, these countries realize that it's also important to protect rhinoceros. So they sit together and change the terms of the treaty to include protection of rhinoceros in it. And this is what is meant by amendment or modification in a treaty. I'll give you another similar example. These 2 countries, A and B, again enter into a treaty to share water from a river that flows between their borders. They agree to use the water responsibly and not pollute it. However, if country A starts dumping harmful chemicals into the river, it would violate the terms of the treaty and make it invalid. So this is what is meant by invalidation of treaties. If you do something that is contrary to the provisions of the treaty, that is contrary to the established understanding. Now let's again imagine for one last time. These 2 countries, A and B, again sign a treaty to promote free trade and eliminate taxes on imported goods from each other. However, country B imposes high taxes on countries A's goods, and it could lead to the termination of the treaty. Why? Because country A may choose to terminate the treaty to protect its economic interests. It entered into that treaty so that no taxes would be imposed. So if taxes are being imposed, then it would explore new trade agreements with other countries that prioritize no taxes and practice fair and open trade policies. That was all about reservation, amendment, invalidation, and termination of treaties. Lastly, you should also know that there are many case laws that discuss about the law of treaties, such as Qatar versus Bahrain, application of Genocide Convention, Anglo-French Continental Shelf case, Bellilos versus Switzerland, and the famous Rainbow Warrior case. As I said earlier, the law of treaties is a vast subject in itself, and if I start going into its details, it would take hours and hours. What I have just given you is Treaty 101, that is the fundamentals of treaties, the important things that you should know about treaties. Let me know in the comments section if you want me to record more episodes on treaties, and I'll happily do so. Thank you, stay curious, and see you next time.